Well, a lot has happened in the past couple of months in all of our lives, in my life. Unfortunately, Jess isn't here today because she's off gallivanting. So I've not even checked my hair or checked my outfit. I'm just on here. Who knows what I like? It doesn't turn out that's it. But a couple of months ago, almost 2 months ago now, we got married.
Yay!
I'm not looking for a round of applause like that, but Daniel, do you want to put that picture on if you can do? Slide number 3. And I thought I'd just share this with you guys because a lot of people couldn't be with us, or it was a little bit crazy. Up until like 2 days before the actual day, we didn't know who could come and who was not going to be there. It was a little bit wild. But there we are. That's me struggling to stand up straight. They only put one chair up there. Did you know that? Not 2 chairs. I was crazy. So that was us. And when I think back over the past 2 years, year and a half or whatever, we got engaged about a year ago-ish. Don't ask me the dates. Just watching this as well, if you see something, I'm really sorry. The pressure's got to be. We achieved quite a lot in a year of all years, really. And I just thought I'd share this picture with you because it's nice. And we like to be odd at. But also anything is possible. Anything is possible. When God is on your side, who He is, He's on your side. That's the takeaway from today. So if there's something you're thinking about doing, or something going on, you think, I just don't know, whether it's a new job, a new opportunity, or this or that, anything is possible. If we could have done that, it's not there, don't put it back, it's fine. If we did all that, we bought a house, we got married, all the other stuff that comes in between, if we could do that in a year, you can do, and God can do what He needs, what you need to be done, and what He needs to do in you in any time at all. It's just about waiting, it's just about trust. So that's not the talk this morning, but that's just a little starting. So today, and over the next 3 weeks, I'm looking at Sally for a nod. Me, obviously today, because I'm here, Sally next week and Andrew the week afterwards, are walking us through Psalm 23. Put your hand up if you've ever read Psalm 23 before. Quite a few of us have. That's alright, but if you haven't, we're going to do it all together now. So, Daniel, could you put slides 5 and 6 on for me? Well, start with 5. We're going to read it all out together. This is Psalm 23. It's on the thing. I'm going to read it from my phone. So if we're ready, have I got the right version on my phone? I'm going to read it off my notes. That's better, isn't it? So they're going to read it all together. And this morning I'm going to talk to us about verse number 1, 2, and a little bit of 3. So here we go. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for His name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for You are with me. Your rod and Your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely Your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Cool. So this morning I'm going to be looking at, and we're going to be talking and thinking about, just verse number 1, number 2, and number 3. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures, and the rest. So, as I was reading this and having to think about it over the past couple of weeks, often the way is I will write a whole thing of stuff and then God 2 days later is like, you know what, don't bother with that. So this is I think what God wants to say. But we're going to look at it, or I'm going to look at it from the perspective of our heads, our minds, our thoughts, what's going on in here. And then we're going to look at a few things from the perspective of our heart, what is going on with our feelings, our emotion, our spirit and our soul. And then to finish off, we're going to look at how does this affect my hands, my actions, my mission, what I actually do. So we're going to do those 3 things in these 3 verses this morning over the next couple of minutes. But I'm just talking about what stuck out to me. So I'm going to challenge you guys, go away over the next couple of weeks, read through it, and think about what sticks out to you. What is the Holy Spirit saying to you specifically about this psalm, about what is God saying to you as a person? Because this is what I think God was saying to me to talk about this morning. But I truly believe, we truly believe that God is speaking to all of us. Because this isn't just about someone coming up here and talking and everybody going away. This is about an active engagement with Jesus in our entire life. So if you're just coming and thinking, well, I listen and I go away, no, it's about throwing ourselves in, because God wants to speak to you. He wants to walk with you. He wants to shepherd you, and we'll get onto that in a few minutes. This is about all of us together, and that's a really important thing for us today. So to start off with, we're going to think about our heads. What stuck out in my head, in my thoughts in my mind? Well, the first two words, the Lord. And you can get a little bit mixed up when I get a little bit mixed up, I won't speak for us all. When you think about the different names of God and Jesus and the Lord, where's it all come from, and it's a little bit kind of crazy sometimes. But when we read the Lord in capital letters in our Bible, we are hearing and we're talking about the personal name of God. Now this might be stuff you've heard before, it might be not, but this is really like quite intense, quite heavy stuff, and this is jumping out of the pages to me over the past couple of weeks. This is the personal name of God. The Lord. I am is what he says. Let's have a look in Exodus chapter 3. God and Moses are having a chat. And Moses says to God, this is chapter 3, verse 13, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. And they ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? That's a good question. I'm giving you this message from someone. Who's this from? What's their name? And God replies to Moses, I am who I am. And I can't quite, well, obviously there's probably a lot going on in Moses' head at that point, because he's got a bush on fire, he's taking his shoes off, there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on, and God is there and she says, I am who I am. Well, it's not really a name, is it? This might have been my response. This is what you are to say to the Israelites, I am has sent me to you. So I presume Moses is a little confused, because it's not like God has given him a definitive kind of easy to explain answer. God also says to Moses afterwards, thankfully, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. The name shall call me from generation to generation. I am basically means this is what is. And that's kind of a little bit of a cop-out answer maybe sometimes, because this is just what there is. When we look up, when we look left, look right, and look down, it's God. I am. He is the beginning and the end. This is, I will be. I will be in the future, I have been in the past, I am right now. This is the divine name of the creator of the universe. And I just want this to sink into our minds a little bit, and to just dwell on our thoughts. Because it means he is the existing one. The one who exists from the beginning of time to the end of time. In every moment of your life, whether it's your wedding day or whether it's just a normal day driving to work, whether you are you're having a great time or a terrible time, he is the one who exists in our lives. We can have many earthly lords or masters, or kind of, I want to call them lowercase lords, because we're reading this name of God, the divine and personal name of God in the Bible. We see it in capital letters, but sometimes we see it in lowercase letters. What does that actually mean as well? And that's often the word Lord that we would kind of associate with a little bit more normally. So someone who is in charge, the master, someone who is maybe giving the rules or stuff like that. Do you follow? And we can have many actual kind of lowercase lords, and this isn't a particularly good thing. They can be earthly or they can be spiritual, but there is only one Lord who carries that divine name. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to change the feel a little bit. Has anybody ever shopped at Aldi?
Yes.
Yes, it's a fantastic shop, isn't it? Danny, could you put my number 7 slide on? It's on.
I know those brands well.
We know those brands well. And these brands are incredible, because how on earth do they get away with that? These aren't pictures I've taken, so they're a bit funny. But this first one, come on, that is a rip-off, isn't it? Seal bars. They are impersonating the actual thing, isn't it? The branded thing. Seal. I can't get over the seal bars. I think they still have a joke on the back as well. That's insane. Hula hoops. They're just called hoops. They've not even tried to disguise it. They've just called it hoops, like crispy hoops or whatever. And then we've got. I just can't wrap my head around the last one. That's meant to be a box of celebrations, isn't it? And they've copied the lettering, they've copied the font, and they've put all their cheesy bars in their vagina, and they're lawyers. Like, we need to get on top of, like, who are your lawyers? Because they need their phone number. If I ever get in trouble, I'm getting out of these lawyers on my case. The brands that copy and imitate are very impressive, and actually when you eat them or when you open them, there's generally not that much wrong, and they cost like 100% less than it would do in the brand. They are very convincing. Often they feel like the real thing. They look like it. They taste like it. They are very attractive in their price. There's always, I don't know if you find this, there's always just something not quite right. There's always something a little bit missing. Like the Shreddies one. The Shreddies are great from Aldi, but they're just not quite like the ones you get, the proper, like whatever the brand is. There's always something a little different, and I have to go do the shopping after this. So I will be buying these things, but we can do this with God. We can put in our other lords, our other masters, and things that we follow, and we can forget that the Lord, capital letters, is the divine name, and He is the one who wants to be our shepherd. Now, what other things can we put in there? Our work can become our Lord or our master. Our fun, what we consume, if we're addicted to something, whether we've got riches or poverty, our emotions, our relationships, our struggles, our successes, what we've done well at, what we've done bad at, our results, our future, our religion, our mind. I can make any of these things my master. But only one thing is the Lord. Because the Lord has one name, He who is and was and is to come. And He is my shepherd. So when we move on to thinking about the heart, this is what I want us to do now. We think about who is it that is my shepherd? And how does this affect my feelings and my emotions? We, obviously, I said earlier, we got married a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, and we are learning to share everything. We're learning, whether it's our time or our...
It was the night before Christmas when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Times like is now shared as well, so like some people know I need a little bit of encouragement in the morning to get moving. No comment from anyone, thank you. Just sometimes needs a little bit of encouragement in the evening, just to like, come on, like you can actually do it, have to sleep on the sofa, we can get to bed. You're not that tired. Our personalities are starting to come through, and don't get me wrong, it's been great. How we do things, where our ideas come from, where we learn stuff from the past, and how we're going to do things now. We are working it out. We're working out each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses, and it's great fun. And I don't think we've had an argument yet. You watch. We're learning how to care for each other and to love each other every day, because our relationship is personal. We were two people, and now we're one. And the same is with God. When we read this psalm, the Lord who we've talked about, the divine name, is my shepherd. He is your shepherd, that personal word which blows up every other thing we could ever come across. It smashes religion out of the park because it's yours. I love this kind of unique, crazy way that all of God is mine, all of Jesus is mine, and all of me is Jesus's. But also it's the same for all of us. All of Jesus is yours, and we share that. Because this faith is personal. It's about you. He is yours to keep, to hold close. And the same back. It's current as well. It's now. The Lord is your shepherd. Jesus is the one who loves you and cares for you. Now, today, at almost 10 to 12. Ooh, it's right now. It's not about your past, and it's not even about your future, to be honest. He is right here today and now. Tomorrow's worries, Jesus says they can wait for tomorrow. We'll deal with them another time. He is for you, it's personal. He wants to be your personal shepherd as we go forward. And what could that be? A leader, a caregiver, a defender, when we think about shepherds and sheep and all that stuff. My guide, my comforter. Actually, being a shepherd is a horrible, dirty job, as you can probably imagine, but He chose to do it for you. He reached down to earth to shepherd you, and He calls you by your name. When was the last time someone called you by your name? It's powerful, isn't it? And He calls you by your actual name. The divine one, the existing one, the one who is and is to come, calls you by your name. And you might not have heard someone say your name for a long time, but But he says it to you today. And that's the gospel, that he reached out to you and us despite everything. We had no reason for it, but he decided, I'm going to do this for you because I love you. Because it's not about doing and achieving. It's not about having a list of things we've ticked off. Because anything you could have possibly done, he still reaches out to you and says, I want to be your shepherd. And that should reach into our heart and into our emotions, and it should affect us. Because it's about who I am standing here today. Not who I've been, or not who I'm going to become. He does care about those things. But he is present and current, right here, right now, in the moment. So then, lastly, I want to talk about how this affects our hands, our actions, our mission, what we actually do on the earth when we know Jesus as our shepherd. Daniel, could you put number 8 on for me, please? Cool. These are some of the pictures that may come to mind, or I found on Google. They're a little bit blurry, actually. Sorry about that. When you Google green pastures, because that's what we're moving on to now. The green pastures and the quiet waters that he leads us to. Come on, Bible. We've got a nice little lamp sitting in the Lego. That's cool. Bit odd. And then we've got a nice, lovely forest with a rainbow, or then this one, like fields and sunshine. Actually, that's not what it is. And you might have an image in your head when you think about these green pastures or these quiet waters, and I don't want to rob that from you at all. Keep that image in your head, because I have one and it's staying. But it's not, it's a little bit similar to these. But if you look at this last one, this is what they're actually talking about. What kind of things do you think about? I'm not trying to take the mick or mock whatever, it's fine. But I mean, I don't think the God of the Bible is really that fussed about a little lamb sitting in some buttercups. He loves it, and we love it, and it's nice, it's cute. But this is the kind of green pasture that an Old Testament or New Testament follower of the Lord would be thinking about. And you might think there was nothing green on there, it's just a desert, James. Well, yeah, it is just a desert. But if you look really closely, if you've got binoculars, you'll see on these kind of tracks and in these mountains and in the desert and all these rocks, there are like little paths that the shepherd would lead his sheep along. And they would carve out the side of the mountain or the side of the hill, and they would go for days and days and days. Well, where's the grass? Where's the water? Where's the big green meadow full of lambs and buttercups and happy things? But it's not there, because that's not how the geography works in that part of the world. But what there would be in the little crevices of the rock, or where the shadow falls, or where they get a tiny little bit of rain every now and then, there will be a little tuft of grass. And that, believe it or not, that tiny little piece of grass that pops up maybe under a rock with a few things around it in the dust and in the dry, that is the green pasture that these sheep are being fed on. Because as you turn the corner here, you're not going to come into this massive farmyard. That's what it's like. So when David is writing this song, and he says, he makes me lie down in green pastures, it really means he gives me what I need for now. He gives me what I need for today. That little piece of grass that I might need to just chew on. Or walk beside that tiny little stream that's running down from the rock that actually might dry up tomorrow. That's what God has given me today. Just enough to get through with him. He doesn't want us to live in lack. Because actually it does say in here, I lack nothing. So what God gives me is enough, and he knows how much is enough. And even if I think it's not enough, God knows how much is enough. And that can be quite nice to relax into sometimes. The Lord, capital letter Lord, will lead us to these places of rest, these tufts of grass in our life and in our faith journey. He will lead us to these little places, maybe under the rock, in the dry, in the desert, where our feet are hurting and we're covered in dust. He will lead us there for rest, for recovery, and for refuel. These might actually be places, because I fully believe this is what God is doing in our lives. He is leading us beside quiet waters and into green pastures. He is doing it for us. But let's think about critically, what are these places? Is it actually a place? Is the place that I can receive from God these things that I need to get through my day, whether it's the morning, the evening, or whatever? Is it an actual place in my house, in in my bedroom, in the world, in the park. It could be. Is that a place where you go and you just sit and you be with God? For some people, especially for young people, maybe that's not at all, because home isn't always the nicest place to be. So is that a person? Is this green pasture someone that I've come in and interacting with, where I receive from God the love that He has for me? Because God speaks through all of us. Is it coming to church? Is this my quiet water time? When I come into the building, when I come around the people that care for me and love me? Is it meeting those who are for you? Is it on a mountain top, or is it in a valley low? Because there will always be enough for what we need. He gives us what we need for the day, for the task, for the challenge, or for what we're called to. We might be approaching a new challenge, and something else we feel like, you know what, I can't do this. God supplies everything we need. Sheep, little sheep lesson for you guys. Sheep lie down, apparently, this is from a book, but I forgot to write down what book it is, so sorry, author of the book. Sheep lie down when they're free from fear, from being scared. When they're free from friction with each other, so infighting basically, you've got sheep napping at each other. When they are well fed, and when there's no flies or pests around. Apparently, according to this shepherd that wrote a book on this kind of stuff, that's when sheep actually lie down. And this is what he says. He says he's going to make you lie down. So we all need to be free of those things and we rest with God. So I want us to think inwardly a little now. Think about yourself, your own life, your own spirit, your own mind, your own emotions, your own heart. Take the time. Where am I eating that grass? Where am I receiving from God? Where am I filling myself up with everything He has for me for today, for this challenge, for this task, for this thing that I'm entering into? Am I letting Him blind me down? Or am I keep pulling at one of these things and using it as a reason to not engage with God? He does this all because it's His character to love me. And He did this all for us by giving His life. And through Jesus giving His life for us on the cross, defeating death and being resurrected to forgive our sins, we flourish. And all we've got to do is walk with God and lie down in the green pasture and walk beside the quiet water, even if it feels like a desert, like we have on there. We will flourish. Because this is God's upside down kingdom where we don't have to work, we don't have to achieve, we don't have to do. When I grow as a person, as someone who is loved by God, when I rest because of the Lord who loves me. And then how can we think outwardly? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we provide the pasture, we don't do that. God provides everything that we need, but we can do things that maybe strip it away or make it more difficult for other people. Church should be the most welcoming place in the world, shouldn't it? And I know that sounds very simplistic and there's lots of layers to it, but it should be. These doors here should be the most welcoming doors you would ever walk through in your entire life. How can I best be cultivating these places where young people, where older people, where people who don't know the Lord, where people who have been mixed up in their life can come and they can receive the pasture, receive the water that God has provided for them? What am I doing that's maybe taking that away, that's making it difficult for people to rest in God? Because a lot of us can do this by ourselves, but some of us need the building, need the Sunday morning as we take our first steps with Jesus. Especially young people need this place to come together, because out there at home and at school, it doesn't feel like God is there because of all the stuff going on around, buzzing around. And here, and I know this from my experience, it's like you come here, it's like this, no, this is where God is. And you learn, and we grow, and we remember, okay, God is everywhere, and I learn how to see Him. But actually for young folks, it's like, this is where God is. He is here. And before, I said this to a few guys during the week, we have an amazing team of people that do our youth work and our children's work, and they're incredible, and I love them. But before the pandemic and all that stuff, how many times we said that? Before all that happened, I know a couple of young people said to me here that sometimes I don't feel welcome in the church. And that was like a punch in the face, like a stab in the heart, like, oh my gosh, we've got young people here who don't feel like they're welcome to be amongst us. What are we doing that's taking that away? Because God wants to provide, God is providing for them here, and in church and in their communities and in their friendship groups and in their school and in their life. He is providing them with what is enough. How are we helping them to find it? We are not the shepherd, he is the shepherd. He is the one leading. We can help in that, and we can make this the most welcoming place that you would ever come across. How can I best cultivate these pastures to help people to continue to learn about Jesus, to encounter him for the first time? We are the community and we are the herd. Don't add the fear or the friction. So I'm going to invite Nathan to come. Is that alright, mate? Nathan's going to do what he does. And we're just going to spend a bit of time waiting to hear from God, if that's okay with you guys. Because the psalm ends, well, no, it doesn't end. It ends in 3 weeks' time with Andrew. But it ends today at verse 3 by saying, he refreshes my soul, or he restores my soul. And a couple of questions I want to ask, and I want to wait for God to move. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking because what if God doesn't do anything and I look like a silly person? It doesn't matter. A couple of things. Do you need your soul restored? Because he wants to do it. Do you need to be refueled, or reset, or repurposed, or re-energized, or resurrected in your spirit? Because he is the Lord, the divine name that comes before and after and right now forever. And he wants to be yours right now at this very moment. So what do you need from him? Because he will provide it. He will lead you beside. He will make you lie down in those green pastures, providing for you what you need. And he will lead you beside those quiet waters, wherever they are, however they are, whatever they are. And he will refresh and restore your soul. So Nathan's just going to play a little bit quietly, and we're just going to wait. I'm just going to invite Holy Spirit, would you come and be with us? Would you come and dwell amongst us now, Lord? And if anyone is needing from you something today that only you can provide, would you speak to them? So we're just going to wait in quiet for a few minutes.
Is my shepherd, he restores my soul. He leads me by still waters, he restores my soul. Lord is my shepherd, he restores my soul. He leads me by still waters, he restores my soul.